Do you feel strong pushes and pulls to people? Sometimes romantic, sometimes friendships, sometimes bosses, and you're not sure what they are. Do you sometimes get drawn into limerence and you feel like there's some other kind of connection going on and it's a little bit more than just trauma, but you're not sure what it is? In this video, I'm going to be discussing all this. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Adam. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the channel. And I just want to let you know I'm doing free breakthrough calls. These are amazing 30-minute calls where we go over your vision for your life, what's stopping you, what's blocking you, and some steps you can take to finally get into your power. Now, limerence is a very common subject. I'll be doing more videos on this in the future because I have a lot of experience with this. The thing with limerence, though, is it's kind of a tricky topic, and I don't see many people covering it. Actually, I haven't seen anybody cover it from a multidimensional aspect. Now, ultimately, what limerence is it's kind of like a very deep, energetic, tends to be romantic connection / obsession with somebody who isn't ultimately available to you. And what tends to happen is there's all these, sometimes there's synchronicities, sometimes there's just these massive fantasies and giant energy fields of love and connection, but oftentimes they aren't there. They're with somebody else, or we get stuck in these holding patterns waiting for them to become available. Now, this is definitely a result of human trauma. It's definitely a result of nervous system trauma. I see a lot of people who talk about the fawn response, right? When you didn't get the love that you needed as a child. Sometimes, there's fight, flight, freeze, but we also fawn. We also stop and just admire or obsess or wish or fantasize about a particular person because we feel that they have the love that we were missing as kids. This is definitely an important thing to look at and to clear as far as where the wound is from childhood. However, there's a whole other aspect to this that most people don't talk about. And it's one of the reasons why the whole twin flame thing is so goddamn confusing. The twin flame structure concept topic is so vast and so confusing. There are people that actually do have twin flames. There are people that have twin flames, but the person they think is their twin flame isn't actually their twin flame. There are people that don't even have twin flames. There are people who are obsessing on a particular sort of celebrity figure, believing that's their twin flame when they're not actually the twin flame, but they sort of are like a placeholder for the twin flame's energy that you project upon. It's a very complicated topic. But what I want to really cover today is specifically when we feel obsessed with somebody, when we feel like we're falling in love with somebody. Sometimes this is true, okay? It's not like you don't fall in love with someone. It's not like you don't have a soul connection to them. But sometimes what's going on, and this has happened to me a billion times, is you're remembering times you had with them in other places. So to really accept this and understand this, you have to accept the concept of past lives, which at this point I am 150 trillion% convinced we absolutely have. I have had way too many experiences with people where the energy was so powerful and there was such a recognition and connection instantly. There's no other way to explain it. Now, what can happen is, say you were with someone 5 times and you were madly in love. Then you meet their soul again in this life, and all of a sudden that memory gets activated. You remember that time, you remember that life, and you feel this pull to them now because you want to go back and have that experience again. It could have been a very negative experience. Sometimes I'll get to that in a second. It could be very positive. Generally, there was at least a lot of positivity or you wouldn't feel that draw. But they're not in this life right now available to you in that way. So what you do is, because we're not conscious of these layers so much, you just feel like this is the person I'm supposed to be with. This is the person I'm supposed to be with because you have a memory. You have a literal, visceral soul memory of being with them and having things be amazing. And what can happen here too is we can get soul pieces kind of exchanged in a way that's no longer serving us. I've had this happen a number of times. I had it happen about 5 years ago. This girl came into my life who I had a prediction about up front. I was told it was the person I was supposed to be with in this life. There was this instant, incredibly powerful attraction. I was obsessive. I couldn't stop thinking about her. I knew I was falling in love with her. We discussed this thing about how we were meant to be together for the rest of our life. Turned out the whole time she had a boyfriend. She was lying to me. She was feeding me all this bullshit. And I was like, what do I do with this? Why did this happen? And what I came to understand was that we had a contract to meet in this life, but we didn't necessarily have a contract to be together. And what she was doing was activating all this past life karmic stuff that I was meant to clear. Now, the other thing that happened was I had exchanged soul pieces with her. So she actually had a piece of my own energy in a way that was no longer beneficial. And I went to a friend of mine, and when he found this and he did this clearing on us, like a lot of that super powerful draw, that obsessive sort of draw, relaxed. And what I realized was I wasn't meant to actually be with her. That's what I realized, obviously, because she was lying and she was filled with trauma and it wasn't a healthy match for me. But this is what happens oftentimes when we're stuck in that limerence state. Because sometimes it's like you really want the person because you have a deep soul connection. Sometimes they have a piece of your energy and what you're wanting back is yourself. And when you get, that's why this pull is so strong. You're like trying to draw you back to you. And when you disconnect the soul pieces, like that kind of obsessive feeling calms down, and then you can see what the connection really is. So there's a couple things you want to do. You do want to look at the human trauma. Absolutely. You want to look at your childhood wounds, the love you didn't get from your mother or your father or whatever. But you also want to ask, where is this coming from in other times and places? And if you have the ability to remember and see, you might get the story, you might be able to clear it, but you don't need to ask to have it cleared. You don't need to get the specific story to ask to have it cleared. Some of the other things that happens in past lives is, you may have had a vow or an agreement or arrangement to be together then or forever. Or there may be something that needs to play out because maybe you hurt them, maybe they hurt you, and you're coming back together to resolve that. Now, on the old timeline, the way this worked was you would have to maybe be in a relationship with them for 6 years, and then at the end they would betray you, and you would go through the karma, and you would feel it, and it would be this whole long, drawn-out process. Now, we don't need to do that. All you need to do is energetically ask that all these past lives, trauma patterns, karmic patterns be cleared so that you can now see what this actual relationship is meant to be. Now, there will be times where maybe you are meant to be with the person, you just need to clear up the past, but a lot of times you won't be meant to be with the person. You'll just need to clear up the past so that you can clear your field, clear your space, clear your wounding so that you can make space for the person that's right for you now, the soul that is right for you now. All these relationship dynamics are changing. They're clearing, they're upgrading so that we can make room for divine union partnerships that are based in newness, in clarity, in divine love, not based on the old trauma patterns, plugging our trauma wounds into each other's holes to like feel better in a negative, non-beneficial sort of attachy codependent way. So I would always ask, if you feel like a limerence with somebody, like what was the past life relationship that needs to be cleared? Ask your higher self to clear it. Ask your higher self to clear any cords, any vows, any agreements, any obligations, and any lifetimes in general that no longer serve you in a beneficial way. And just give space for that. You can do it in meditation. You can do energy clearing if you're familiar with energy clearing. But strongly setting the intention will very much help. And ask to have any soul pieces exchanged back, healed, purified, and transformed. You always, when you want to ask for soul pieces back, you want to ask for them to come back healed, purified, and transformed and reintegrated. Because what happens is, imagine, it's like somebody has like a piece of food that was on the ground and you're asking for it back and you're not washing it off and you're eating all this, fucking dirt. You want the thing cleared. It's like a mirror that's stained. You don't want to bring back a stained mirror. You want to clear the mirror off so it's clean and new and then reintegrate it. And if you're in a relationship now and you really love the person and you're very much in love, but you have sort of negative patterns still active in your dynamic, this is good to ask for too, because what you can do is some parts of your energy are interacting in an old, out of harmonious way. And you can work on your behavior, your belief systems. Of course, that's very important. But sometimes these are very past dynamics and habit patterns that are so ingrained in your consciousness, and there's this karmic thing playing out even with your current partner. And so if you ask to have these non-beneficial old past life habit patterns cleared, you can also create a whole new dynamic with your current partner that's only based in love, harmony, unity, etc. This is just part of what we're doing is we're coming off the old timeline. We're coming out of all these old disjointed, codependent, non-beneficial patterns where it was kind of tit for tat, like karmic repayments. We had debts to people. We hurt them. Now they're coming to hurt us. We're trying to work it out. Like this stuff just needs to be cleared. So it's not even a bad practice anytime you meet anyone to just ask to have all non-beneficial past life dynamics cleared and healed so that you can have like a new clean slate. And the other thing I want to say is I understand this can be a very painful, frustrating experience. But this is the reality that we live in. It's the reality that we live in. And it's very important to release our old links. So if you're in limerence with somebody, you know, these karmic wounds, these traumas, these love wounds open us up to so much interference and manipulation. It's why the twin flame thing is so convoluted, because there are forces out there that will literally send you fake partners to re-traumatize you. And that's messed up. But again, if you heal your wounding and you really love yourself and you clear this stuff up, they can't do that anymore. It's always the wound in us that calls it in. And that's how you take responsibility, ownership, and find true empowerment. So let me know how this video goes. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I have a free energy clearing you can download in the description below to help you with some of this work if you set the intention to do it. Other than that, I thank you very much. Until next time, and peace.